Че, на тебя смотрел, говорим. Hello, my name... Подожди,
He was this full of distressed, non-attempted, very young guy, lack of discipline totally.
So what kept me going was that I knew the 3rd Assault Brigade was one of the more elite out of any other Ukrainian unit. When I heard this like loud bang, like almost right next to the place I was sleeping, the windows shattered, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm in Donetsk Oblast. Пару слов, пожалуйста.
Я в рот всю работу.
Hello, my call sign is Kosmos. I serve in the 3rd Assault Brigade as a foreign volunteer. I was originally born in Kiev, Ukraine, on the right side of the river. At the age of 11, we moved to Canada, Vancouver, Canada. After I finished my first year in university, I went to London, because from London I was actually flying to Kiev. And during that time, the football was happening, Euro 2020. And I went to go watch football with one of my friends. And actually at that facility, I met other Ukrainians, met some other friends. When they went back to Ukraine around December time of the year 2021, a few months before the war started, I had actually a winter holiday for university and I went to go visit them. We went to the Karpati mountains, we went to Kiev, and it didn't really feel like the war was going to happen because everything was so calm. And I would always ask them, what would you guys do if the war started? And they would always joke around to make a fundraiser to buy them a rifle and everything, and to start preparing. But they were just joking, because we didn't really think a war would start. And then when the war started, I remember I was sleeping, it was 4 a.m. and I just went to the toilet, quickly checked my phone, and I see the full-scale war broke out. Putin launched the invasion, and the first thing I actually did was start calling my friends that were in Ukraine, and they said, yeah, we're enlisting. And I decided I can't just sit at home and do nothing. So when my friends enlisted, Ukraine was short on uniform supplies and magazine pouches, and in general, like boots, thermovision, monoculars. So I started raising money on Facebook, Instagram, and so in my 3rd year of university, as I was finishing it up, I decided that I wanted to go help the fight in Ukraine. I had this thought that in the back of my head that I had something left in Ukraine to give or to help, and I decided I made a choice to apply to the International Legion, in which later I got contacted by the foreign team of the 3rd Assault Brigade to have an interview with me. After completing the interview, I got invited to go to Kiev for a fitness test. Prior to any fitness training or anything like that, I actually played football for a team in Canada and just locally in the United Kingdom. But when I arrived to Ukraine to do the physical test, it was quite intense, to say the least.
I'm responsible for the preparation of the foreigners that arrives to the 3rd Assault Brigade and come here with intention of participating with us in the combat zone. When the recruits have managed to pass the initial physical test, then we know that we at least have a minimal level of physical readiness that we can work on further with. When they enter the program, which we have here, I will teach them how to shoot with an assault rifle. I will teach them basic tactical movements, how to move in formations, how to dig a trench. They will be taught how trench warfare is executed. One of these recruits that came here was Kosmos. He didn't have the name when he came, of course. He was this sort of distressed, non-attempted, very young guy. Lack of discipline totally. It was hard to take him seriously, as if he didn't know or knew where he had arrived, because he still had this childish in him. If it was farming, could laugh and didn't need to pay attention to things. And I understood that here I had a guy that I had to put a little bit extra work into, put some effort to make him have a sort of transmission from the English innocent youth to actually realize that now it's time to grow up and become a soldier. And I've never had such a tough time with anyone before as with him.
So after a few days, the chief PT instructor realized that I am quite weak because I couldn't do a single pull-up. I was not very good at push-ups or sit-ups. I could only run since I played football. I had good stamina, but everything else I struggled on. When we did morning PT or did any type of exercise throughout the day, I would come last, and it was quite embarrassing for me. The chief PT instructor always criticized me for this, always tried to break me down.
The first 3 weeks was really hard on him. I really had to put a lot of pressure on him to get this civilian mindset out from him and make him realize that he's a soldier now, or you want to be a soldier, and you cannot be a soldier if you have a civilian mindset where you are not disciplined, you're not knowing about subordination, you are not giving everything you can in situations almost where you doesn't really need to understand why you're doing it, you're supposed to do it.
In which the PT instructor saw that I was making progress, and he kind of quieted down his tone on me. He kind of saw that I was improving and making progress, and saw that I'm not going to quit. Because for the first 3 weeks I had this thought in the back of my head, but I decided I'm not going to be a weak individual. I'm a strong individual in the head. I decided to go on with it, to train, not to give up. We also did boxing matches at the facility. The first boxing match I lost. So what kept me going was that I knew the 3rd Assault Brigade was one of the more elite out of any other Ukrainian unit. And I realized for myself, when I go out there into the war zone, right? Strong people don't want to be around weak individuals, since the weak individual brings the group down. And I don't want to, and I'm never the guy who likes to bring the group down. I want to be on the same level, or even improve and be a level above. And as an individual, I just never quit. I never liked to quit. I wanted to go to the end. Around week 5, week 6, when I really started to develop muscle, boxing technique, I had a boxing match in the very morning, which I knocked my opponent out cold. And then I saw the PT instructor really impressed with what I actually did. And from there on, he realized that I'm gonna be here to the end and stick to the 3rd Assault.
With some discipline and subordination and a lot of work, I managed to transform him into not just physically ready, but also he became disciplined, and he realized after a couple of weeks with me here, he realized that this is serious stuff that he had arrived to, and it's not just some computer game at home, which maybe he had been sitting and playing for many years before he just decided to become soldier. And now he actually had to man up and show that he had what it takes to become a soldier, because you cannot just sit at home and get an idea about that you're gonna become something. You must actually put some effort in it to show that you have what it takes and that you deserve to go where you want to go.
So around week 8 and 9, when I got the opportunity to sign the contract, I was contacted by the commander of Buar, Battery of Control and Artillery Reconnaissance, saying they're ready to take me. We had a quick interview. He asked me what education I had, what my specialties were, my background, just a quick short interview. I went to go sign my contract, showed him that I signed it, and he asked me to come to Donetsk Oblast, Pokrovsk. Arrived at the train station, showed my tickets, got on the train, put my stuff to the side, lay down on my bed, and I had music playing, but I also had these weird thoughts because it was evening time, a lot of uncertainty, didn't know where I was going, didn't know what was going to happen to me. To be honest, for me, it felt like a one-way ticket. I was also thinking a lot about my family, my friends, my previous life when I was a student, when I was in Canada and the UK. As the train is approaching Pokrovsk, everything becomes more grayish, more. You could feel like you're in a war zone now. And the famous sign, the Donetsk Oblast sign, as the train went past that sign, you get this really powerful feeling that, wow, you're actually here. Yeah, when I arrived, I kind of settled down in the bed I was going to sleep in, and just had this really weird feeling, what's going to happen next, right? That same night when I was going to bed, I remember the air siren going off. You could actually hear rockets flying by at nighttime, and I will never forget that around 2 a.m., 3 a.m. when I heard this like loud bang, like almost right next to the place I was sleeping, the windows shattered. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm in Donetsk Oblast. My commander told me the role I was going to do, we would go in and see all the big screens of the reconnaissance drones and the live map. And it kind of shocked me because you're looking at live translation, at a live stream of the actual war happening on the front line that shows the tactics, the minefields, where the enemy is, all of this. And it kind of really strikes you, and it's a lot of information to take in because they said I had to learn all of it. That same evening, my commander sent me a PDF file of like 200 pages, 300 pages, a description of how the live map works, the job I was going to do and perform. My main role was actually to be it was an analytical role. So we had this sound metric system which identified from where the enemy fired artillery and mortars. And my job was to identify on the live map, given the data I had, to place it in the spots where most likely the enemy would fire from. And I had to do the night shift. During the night shift, 12 hours, it was quite tough because at nighttime I would sleep, and now they told me I had to work a night shift. I would drink a lot of energy drinks, and I would start drinking actually coffee as well, which I didn't before. It was very intensive. You really didn't even have 5 minutes to look at your phone or to check any news. After the night shift, I would go to sleep. I would wake up 2-3 hours. I had free time to do anything, and then at the night shift again. Yeah, after doing my analytical work, which I had to do every day without any days off, I asked my commander if I could do or move to another role where I would be closer to the front line to experience more action. The only role that was really available was to be a drone reconnaissance operator. I had to go through online courses, and there was a test which you had to get 80% to pass, and if you didn't get it, then you could not become a drone operator. So I studied, I passed the test. Then I flew on the simulator FPV and just watching videos on how to do it. I watched the live streams, how the people on the front lines fly. I would ask different operators how it's like on the front line, and just to get some tips or any type of help that they could tell me. When we moved to the Kharkiv direction, that's when I became a drone operator. I went out with a crew of 3 people. They would show me how to fly, they would teach me how to operate, because the 3-person crew, not everyone flies at the same time. One person flies, the other person kind of sits on communications, on tactics, to gather any info where the enemy could be or where to look, and the third person rests.
Что, дымно?
Что?
А ну подожди. Да черт, ебать, этот как будто на нас посмотрел.
Да, я тоже так подумал.
After learning a little bit on how it works, I asked the guys if they could just give me the controller. Yeah, so I remember actually on the very first day when I was with the drone crew learning, when they were teaching me how to operate and everything, I remember seeing these two Russians going inside a house, in which I passed on the information, and the officer told me in charge to keep the image still, to because an FPV drone would fly in and then bomb the shit out of that house. So I remember keeping a still image of the drone I was operating, and then I see an FPV drone coming in, and then just boom, house explodes, and then yeah, you get this adrenaline once again, like saying that yeah, I want more.
Це стволка, хлопці. Там зараз буде 3 топора наводяться туди, треба буде коригування зробити.
Можете в підступі в шестерку кинуть координати, ми зараз їх двіжка будемо отрабатувати.
Там вже є. Тільки що влучання було.
Є детон, хлопці, ми відпрацювали.
Бам! Ми відпрацювали вітролом. УАЗіка. Шикарно! Ранок не з кофе.
The blindage we operate from is around 2 to 3 kilometers away from the zero line, and almost every time we're on position we get shelled by the enemy 155, 152 kamikaze drones flying by. And at first, yeah, I remember there was a shell that landed around 50 meters from us, and then I was actually sleeping at the time, and then the whole ground just shakes and vibrates, and then Grad rockets flying, well, not flying by, enemy using Grad rockets to try and hit us, and then the ground just shakes, the blindage shakes. It almost feels like a really small earthquake. And at first you're scared, but then, you know, after some time passes, yeah, you're like, fuck, these fuckers missed us once again. Yeah, the first time I found an enemy artillery piece was when I was actually flying around 500 meters, and I could see tree line after tree line after tree line, and I see this flash spark all of a sudden, and I pass it on to the guys that were beside me, who were watching who were working with me, and I say, look, there's a flash, right? What could it be? Then they told us to go fly into that direction and investigate what's actually there, and then you see this big artillery piece around 152 millimeters, and I remember yeah, the FPV drones would fly towards it, try to destroy it, our artillery would fire, and yeah, you're like, wow, I found this and now it's destroyed, and now our infantry can live in peace for a bit. My commander would actually give me a 1-week holiday. He said you can go back to Kiev or wherever you want just to relax and chill. That same morning when we had the change in shift, I remember finding a car which was transporting 2 Russians. I was giving a still image of where the car was driving to, and an FPV drone would fly in, and then yeah, the car would totally explode. 2 hours later we had a change in shift. The guys drove me to Kharkiv, and then from Kharkiv I went to Kiev. And as we're going to Kiev, it was yeah, a really weird feeling, because that same morning I discovered a car with Russians in which they were killed. And now I'm in Kiev. It's a civilian life, completely different, completely calm. No shelling, no explosions. Yeah, it was quite weird at first. I remember going to McDonald's. The first thing I did was go to McDonald's, because there's no McDonald's in the zone where we operate. Yeah, just to taste the Big Mac with fries, McFlurry. So when I came to the training center where I originally was training before I got accepted into the 3rd Assault Brigade, I met up with my instructor, and yeah, I couldn't be more grateful for the training he provided me, the discipline he installed into me. because looking back, actually, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't probably feel as confident or as ready to go out into an active war zone. And yeah, I thanked him for it because yeah, I would say it really paid off for the discipline and training he provided.
Sometimes I get contacted by people who have been recruits here before, and they give me credit for the training that we have gone through here. And for me it's like my extended arm in one way, that I'm still participating and helping, but through them. So it feels great because I know that through the recruits, I know that I've helped many with, I share my experience with them from the war, and they return to me and say, yeah, it's exactly as you say, and it's like this, exactly like you said in the war. Thank you very much for learning us this and this type of training, because it helped me when I was in that situation. Without that you taught that, I would never have known how to do that. So for me, it's a great honor every time someone gives feedback to me. And of course, if someone have negative feedback, it will be good too. But I have so far not received anyone from the guys who we have sent away. So it feels great when they contact me. I'm actually, yeah, it can be for whatever thing that they say, that they give me some credit for. It's really nice to hear anyway, and it feels like I contribute with what they are doing, even though I'm not there. So it's great.
In the 3rd Assault, you really get this brotherhood feeling that if anything happens or you go down, someone will help you back up. The same goes for me if I see one of my guys go down, or not just on the battlefield, but you know, maybe family life, personal life, like if he needs any type of communicating, or yeah, if he needs me to talk to him about something, like, yeah, it's not just about being like a soldier, but there's another aspect that we're all humans in the end of the day, and you help with anything else that they need help with. Maybe from YouTube videos or other media, people think that to be in the 3rd Assault you have to be this Superman or killer guy, but in reality it's just a regular civilian with motivation and a goal in mind. And if you have the motivation and the commitment as a human, you can achieve really big things, to say the least. No?